Yes, y'all. We got a very special guest this week looking to talk to him about his expansion. It feels like a whole pod about expansion. We're also talking about the NBA and its expansion, possibilities around the league and cities involved. We also just got off the weekend of celebration of my gracious co-host, Evan Turner, who's expanded to the age of 35. He's expanding his watch collection as well. And so this is a fun one, more thought-provoking. Sit back, relax, and learn something. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Point Forward, the podcast. Myself, Iguodala, my main man, Evan Turner. ET, how you doing, my guy?
I'm doing well. I'm chilling. Just had an amazing weekend. I celebrated my 35th birthday back home with the family. With some family and friends, we went to the Lauryn Hill concert, and and my best friend actually bought me a brand new watch for my birthday. So I'm on cloud nine.
Oh, I like the double entendre, the cloud nine.
You already know.
Shout out to my man Jody Meeks, because my response would be, I had to do it.
That's real.
We got to catch up with Jody. Jody is a Kentucky legend. We're gonna go rock with Jody. We're gonna find him.
And he's a coach right now for the DC Go-Go?
Yeah, DC Go-Go.
I wonder how Coach Jody Meeks is. That's a hilarious sight. But anyways, man, I appreciate you coming to hang out this whole weekend and obviously adding another notch to the belt of our bromance or whatever you want to call this. So,
yeah, I got emotional this past weekend. I appreciate that. It was a blessing to exist in the world of Lauryn Hill. This is something that will revoke my black card, but I'm not as well versed in Lauryn Hill as I should be. But I've tried multiple times. But when you feel something like that with not even knowing all the words, I think that just speaks volumes to her. So I appreciate you with the unlock, because now I'm gonna go back again and I'll be able to.
I think you might have told me that. Yeah, you said you never really dove into the Lauryn Hill music. You never really stand on the miseducation. I don't think you understood the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, did you?
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't mature enough, or I just couldn't quite get it. And sometimes things feel different in time. Yeah. I go back to certain music that I listened to before, and it doesn't have the same effect. So you need to end that moment in time, like your age, your maturity, whatever. And so I missed Lauryn Hill, but I think hers is so timeless that I think I can get to where I need to be. So I'm gonna get there.
And she really performed her ass off. She was sick. And bro, when she got the flow in, bro, literally her flow is crazy, unbelievable. I was sitting there holy shit, I'm watching Lauryn Hill with my family, my daughter's here, this is that was a great night, G.
Yeah, that was
a
special.
Great night.
Yeah, that was
I enjoyed it for sure.
Yeah, I haven't been moved like that, but maybe I don't even know if it was a handful of times in my life, but that was an experience. That was what's up.
So who was better? Because you and I both separately, we were in the building at the same time, but back in 2011, we saw the Watch the Throne tour, Jay-Z and Kanye. So in that experience, not saying the certain level, because, the song Niggas in Paris was huge.
Right.
But what type of vibe, what hit you different? Or was it Yankee Stadium, Eminem and Jay-Z type of, even more crazier? Was that up there with some of the best concerts?
Yeah, because I've probably seen, it's been 3 concerts that have moved me that I can remember. Wait, no, Prince was good.
Yeah. When did you see Prince?
I saw Prince this last concert before they took him out. Before he passed.
Yeah.
But I will say The Life of Pablo.
Oh, you said that was crazy before he went crazy. You said that was crazy.
Yeah, that was number 1. And then Lauryn Hill / Prince / Watch the Throne all sit right there too. And shout out to Philly, because Philly has a certain energy they bring for Jay-Z that they don't really bring anywhere else, including their sports. Well, the Eagles got it popping, but Philly had it going. Philly had it crazy for Watch the Throne. And I saw Watch the Throne in like 3 different cities, and Philly was by far the best one.
Really? Damn.
Yeah, it was
That's
crazy.
how I feel about the Usher concert. I've seen Usher like 7 times.
Usher was good.
Yeah, I'm done seeing Usher, but legitimately, it's been a great weekend. That was a great concert. We were able to see Lauryn Hill. We were able to kick it a bit, and we were also able to expand my watch collection, which was something I'm super grateful for because I was sitting on stale for a minute.
Understood.
Point. Forward.
Speaking of expansion, having a knowledge of a lot of the things that are surrounding us and being at the forefront of communicating about what's next. And I think that's what this episode is about. Really excited about this one. And part of it is taking a deep dive into Adam Silver's recent comments or his announcement about the NBA expanding to 32 teams possibly. The pros and cons of adding an expansion team. And so you do have to get your timing right. And you know, I always say with that scale, there's the basketball side and there's the business side. And the basketball side should always tip the scales of importance over the business side, or else the game it can cause chaos within the game and how it's played, and it can be bad, and we never want to get there. And so right now we're in a good place after week 1. We've been talking about after week 1, you can put a lot of teams in the true running to win the championship. Like there's more than 4. Whereas in the past, like you said, it was a long time where, I was mad at Steph for being really good. But the pros and cons of adding a new NBA team, starting with the pros. 2 new big markets added in time for the new TV contracts, a higher number, and I think that's where you go global with the possibility of a city like Mexico City or just Vegas with the energy around sports betting. 30 more roster spots are open. A big thing about the union is player security. You want players to have more jobs for a longer period of time. I don't know if this is a pro or not, because I'm a big fan of 82 games. Richard Jefferson always says this, so I won't steal his line. A part of that passage to being a professional basketball player and being one of the best players in the world is going through the gauntlet of playing 82 games a year. And so I never want to see the games be reduced.
Yeah.
But on our list, we're saying that can be a reason why the league could have a real reason to reduce the number of games, maybe to 76 games. And then you also just increase revenue and visibility just by having a larger market to play to. Con side, you reduce the payout of distribution from national TV deals. And it could possibly dilute the volume of each team. I could argue that all day long.
Well, let's argue that after this, because I do want to. That's an interesting topic to bring up right after that point.
Yes. Okay. So we'll get to that in a minute. And then small market teams definitely don't like expansion. You got more attractive cities, especially with all the cities we named. You got Seattle, you got Vancouver, Mexico City, and obviously Vegas. Those are 4 very, 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 very attractive cities, even though 2 are out the country, that might take away from smaller markets who struggle to get free agents.
Okay.
And then we're saying it would be harder to create super teams, but I don't know if that's a pro or a con, so we'll just leave that there.
Yeah, it wouldn't be hard to create super teams. They're going to figure out a way to swing from them. That's for sure. They're going to make a way, believe that.
And in terms of super teams, the league could use that to reduce player power, quote unquote, in terms of, the player power with the CBA. You got more teams in the play. You got a lot of money. More money being distributed to players for max contracts, so it would entice a guy could sign for $100 million a year very soon after this TV deal possibly, or if he wanted to go to LA, he would only take 50. I don't know too many guys that'd take 50 over 100 million. And
if it's you heard what Stat Jack said, if it's a championship, he doing it.
No, it ain't worth that much, and I actually did it. It depends on who you are. If you're in the right market for yourself and you know your end goal, it works to take less. But if you're taking less and you're a superstar, it's not worth it. If you're taking less and you're like the fourth or fifth most important on your team, I wouldn't say better, but fourth or fifth most important down the line, taking less is more beneficial to win a championship. And this is a con. This is not a good thing in terms of expansion, but more roster spots do dilute the quality of play. I do think we have too many guys that are playing in the NBA that don't belong in the NBA.
Yeah.
And when I say belong, you can speak to this.
If you're not in the top 8, which the top 8 is 30 teams, that's 240. It's 450 players in the league. Like, keep it a beans, right? If you're not in the top 8, bro, like, you in the practice type shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're in the top 8 going somewhere and playing, like, you'll be able to play elsewhere, but it's like, yeah, the expansion, I'm worried that too many people in the town will kind of drop off. And not in like a negative sense, but it's already like 4 or 5 people on the team that are just there anyways. You know what I'm saying? But what city would you like to see the 2 new expansion teams in? Realistically and hypothetically. Like, to me personally, I think like it's a no-brainer for Seattle or Las Vegas.
Right.
But I came here to tell you why Columbus, Ohio would be perfect to get an NBA team. I said that before, and people, when we were on JJ Reddit's pod, after he and I got crucified for saying the team should go from Memphis to Nashville.
I think they misinterpreted what you said. I didn't see it as you're saying that Memphis.
I think JJ, when JJ,
I don't think JJ was saying it either. I think you were more or less saying, you know, like Memphis or I mean, maybe you brought it up. I think you may have said it before JJ, and I would take your side before I would take any other person's side. But I didn't think JJ was saying like, yeah, move Memphis. I think he just moved on quickly as mentioning another city, and it was in the same breath but a different conversation. He wasn't saying move Memphis. He was more so saying like, okay, this city will be added, not moving Memphis, but including Memphis. Still being in the league. So I do think there was a misinterpretation there by some listeners.
Yeah, well, and there was some local Memphis dude that gave me like 24 hours to issue an apology. I'll send you the video, but I was like, bro, what? Like, man, I'm sorry, my nigga. I don't care. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
you know what's dope, though?
My bad.
I had to explain to a guy. I usually, it's less and less, but I probably like once a month now, maybe once every other month, that someone will mention Memphis to me in like an elevator or a random place. And so getting off the elevator in New York when I was there for the retirement, a guy was real cool and he wanted a picture. And I was like, cool. He was like, man, we from Memphis. And I'm like, oh, that's what's up. It's all love. He was like, man, I wanted you to play for us. So I had to explain to him again about that situation. But once I explained to him, you know, how business works, how sports work, you know, how the narrative works, he was very gracious in terms of, oh, I didn't know, you know, my bad. It's all love. And so it was super cool. So,
yeah, much love. And, you know, Memphis, the Grind City era, like growing up and everything was like some of my favorite times. And even just the energy of how they got the franchise now cracking. It's dope to see. So, shout out to everybody in Memphis. Yeah.
Memphis can never leave Memphis, by the way.
For sure.
And no, I mean, I don't think we understand why. There's a book I gotta find the name of. I was reading
called Bill Street Could Talk.
It's not that one. It was basically on the history of African Americans and our struggle through, you know, coming from the South, going up north, ownership of things, it being destroyed, race riots, race wars, so on and so forth. But it was a guy. I think he's riverboat background. He found his way up north, and he was like, I think he was a half-breed, black and white. But you're still a slave, even if you're half. Yeah. But maybe his father had something with riverboats, and he worked on there, worked his way up to Memphis. He ended up owning like a third of all of Memphis. Like he had all the money, and they basically took all the stuff from him, blew it up or whatever, burned it. It was crazy story. I got to get that book. I got to be more versed in that. But somebody can look it up. The sparking sparking a thought is all that matters.
We'll
But
put that on the book list for sure.
yeah. But Memphis has probably the highest percentage of African Americans in an NBA city.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I don't know what happened like last series or whatever, but like they also are like a very classy like group as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like they don't get as buckets. Sometimes it's like Atlanta might get buckets. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you might walk up in a building like, bro, if you don't get the fuck out my, you know what I mean? Like, you don't get the fuck out my face, G. Like
it depends on
towards a bit.
Yeah, they're cool, but you know, there was something with the Warriors, and it got kind of interesting there. But I will say, I am a fan of their coach. Like, I watch him closely. I like how he's super competitive.
Yeah,
they got those guys down there playing. Great brand of basketball. Like, you know, some basketball is good for the game. Some brand is bad for the game of basketball. And I think the way that they coach, they raise, you know, the competitive nature, the IQ. All their players, when they're on their court, you know, they play with a sense of pride, with a sense of duty to the actual game. They're trying to push it forward, and I can sense that within the organization. So I got nothing but respect for them.
Shout out to Memphis, man. So per usual, our ADD kicked in, and I think I forgot the topic, but I'm pretty sure we were discussing
NBA expansions.
Yeah, NBA expansion. So where would you want to see a team hypothetically, if you could?
Well, DraftKings has a hypothetical odds on the next NBA expansion city. Super dope. Super dope, man. You can actually bet on this?
Well, technically, it's not on a site to bet on it. Our good friends at DraftKings came up with some realistic odds just in case. And I'm not mad at it. They're looking like geniuses on unbettable bets. So I'm rocking with that.
So I'll name these list of cities.
Yep.
Vegas having the highest odds. Vegas, followed by Seattle, Mexico City, Vancouver, Louisville, St. Louis, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Nashville, New Jersey, Tampa, San Diego, London made it, Montreal, Cincinnati, and longest odds on the list, Virginia Beach.
Shit, well, I'm going to ask where Columbus ended up, hypothetically, if they doing 25,000 odds. And the top two were Las Vegas and Seattle, which were plus 120 and plus 180. And Mexico City was the next closest at plus 600. So it's a surefire, looks like a surefire thing that they're going to Las Vegas and Seattle. How do you feel about that?
Well, let's start with, I want to don't forget about Mexico City, because I'm loving it too. Yeah. There'll be a longer shot than those two, but starting with Vegas, it just makes sense, you know, with how betting has become more. What's the proper word I'm looking for? You can stomach it, like you can stomach that
cultural.
vice.
Yeah, sure.
Right. It almost feels like the marijuana thing, right? Can I say that?
No, for sure. Nigga. Yeah, it's from the earth. Yeah, you can say all that. Boy, I was about to say one more thing. I'm like, bro,
Vegas is the place we're seeing football. Football led the way. I give them credit. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing, but football is once a week. And so you can, you know, there's so many teams. There's only 18 games during the season. You know, you split up the games, 9 and 9, 9 away, 9 home. And so if you're the road team, Vegas is a tourist city, and you got a lot of tourism coming in for those football games. It's very similar to London. It's having a great conversation about London and the games the NFL is having over there in those different football arenas. And they're selling out. And it isn't particularly the fans having an affinity to one of the teams playing. Like, they're so spread out in terms of which teams fans root for globally in the NFL, possibly in basketball too. And so I think all that comes into place. But we saw what it was doing for football, the city of Las Vegas. And I think with the Aces success, viewership going up for the W, attendance being at its highest levels in the finals for the W, it's an amazing thing to see. We have a lot of preseason games there now. I think those are all testing out those markets to see the energy. Could that market?
Yeah, you look at the Golden Knights, the hockey team got it jumping. Like hockey, people don't really watch
They won a
hockey like
championship.
that. And 5 or 6, like that got jumping. So like I think the energy from there's something there that's gonna make people. You go see hockey. No disrespect to hockey players. You go see hockey, you gonna go watch a game.
But the fan base too. I think that demographic in Vegas could have something to do with it as well. I mean, look at some of those casinos.
Yeah, it
like
does.
you have a casino for every different demographic, and I
So
think
those
there's like
hockey players, yeah.
Here's something that people don't know. Vegas is only like the 40th largest market in the country. I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
You in and you out. And so that'll be interesting to see. Vegas looks like a sure shot. They got that what they spent, I don't know, $6 billion. It's some astronomical number on the new arena and its surrounding area for an NBA team and arena. And now that kind of caught me off guard too, because now I'm thinking, are there too many venues in Vegas? Because everyone has a large venue for large acts, for concerts, and you want to have, when you build a venue that large,
Yeah.
you know, I just read something about Barclays, the arena in Brooklyn. Like they're bleeding money, like they're losing money because of all the other stadiums that have been built around New York. You know, the Islanders aren't
Yeah, you're
playing
no
in
longer
Brooklyn anymore.
guaranteed to get that concert coming in, all that. Yeah.
Right, because you got newer ones coming along.
Yeah.
You know, they're known not to do well with attendance in Brooklyn, although Brooklyn's like top 10 largest city in America. People don't know that. But why would they struggle with filling up the Barclays? And so will there be an oversaturated market in Vegas in terms of arenas? You know, these are for-profit organizations.
Yeah, but you know, as long as you get one person, obviously that's a big if. It'll be an expansion team. But if you build it, you get one person, somebody can fill the seats. You know what I mean? Like we forget so much with that. But like a Victor pulled up of Vegas, he's filling a lot of seats, don't you think?
Yeah, or make sure you line up the Vegas franchise with the top next prospect in the draft. That doesn't happen, people.
All right. LeBron ended up in Cleveland and D Rose ended up in Chicago.
And Wembanyama ended up in the best organization possible for him to succeed. Moving on to our next city, Seattle. Man, I love Seattle.
Yeah, shout out to Spencer Hawes, man. I would love to see Seattle get a team back.
And I think Seattle's one of those cities where you can actually get free agents. Vegas is a city you can get free agents. Yeah, you can get free agents in Vegas. But Seattle, with the way we're moving as athletes in terms of on the business side, off the court, Seattle is going to rival Golden State in the Bay, you know, what the Bay has been able to get guys in. Now that I have an ownership stake in Bay FC, the National Women's Soccer League team, there's a player we're trying to get right now, and I've spoken to her and her team, and I'm selling them on the same thing. You know, like this is our version of NIL, but the numbers are way bigger. You know,
that's real.
And so I think Seattle. No, it's not her.
Trinity Rodman. Oh,
it's not her. It's not her.
Never mind. All right.
Yeah, we got something up our sleeves, but Seattle has those effects. We was just been struggling with the arena the whole time. I feel like that was the whole hold up with them. But they renovated Key Arena,
Yeah. I would like to see if Vegas and Seattle gets, just as a person who used to play in Portland. So then you can move teams like Memphis and Minneapolis, Minnesota.
To the east.
To the east, bro. Because in Portland, then you get the division together. So now you got Vegas, Portland, Seattle, who else is over there? Denver, and Utah. As opposed to it being like Vegas, Utah, Denver. They're only 2.5 hours away, but the altitude sucked. And then you're 4 hours, aka 8 hours round trip to Minnesota and New Orleans, which was just terrible. And I feel as though if you get that division right, I feel like it'll make more sense. I would love to see Minnesota in the East too. I think that would even some things out as well, along with I feel like with the Grizzlies as well.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Our next city, this is one of my favorite cities, and I've been there twice. Vancouver.
Ooh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that would be lit.
And so it fits right along what you're saying in terms of, you know, location, travel, you know, division, composition. But Vancouver, I felt like, some tech companies, they say you can be 10 years too early.
Yeah.
And your idea doesn't work, and you lose all this money, and it's like it was a bad idea. Then 10 years later, someone else comes up with the exact same idea, the exact same go-to-market execution, and it works. I feel like Vancouver is one of those cities where it was too early, they weren't ready for it, but now they are. We talked about how many Canadian players in an NBA. Yeah. Here's another city guys will get access to and understand the ecosystem in the business world. There's 50 billionaires in the city of Vancouver. They got some amazing real estate. Beautiful.
And even like with the Grizzlies, you say it was too early, but in the debut season, they averaged 17,000 fans as well. So like,
right, back then.
With Brian Reeves, all them, but there was an appetite for it. I just think clearly it's too premature, but to bring them back now and the city is filled up even more, I think that fan base would be crazy.
Yeah, it could be good. It could be good. And then we've had a few preseason games there recently that did pretty well. I think we played a preseason game there.
Yeah, so did we. We played there. I played there too. It's pretty crazy. I think you talk about trying to put another team in Canada. How do you think that would affect, Canada's basically all Toronto Raptor type vibe? How do you think that would affect? You think west side of Canada would appreciate who would it be? The Vancouver? Shit, who knows?
Good
Whatever
question.
they could be. Yeah.
The Vancouver Glaciers.
Or would you want to, or would it be more beneficial because you mentioned Vancouver, but I'm not mad at the Mexico City idea.
Well, you just sparked the thought in my mind.
Because when you sit there now, the Mexico City, whoever it could be the team of Mexico. And I think when we get the right type of, fans and start expanding there, that even just looking at boxing, that market is everything. You know what I mean? The Mexican market is huge. We already play a lot of games there. We have an NBA academy there. And then there's like 9 million people in the city. That's that would be the most populated North American sports franchise.
Right, North American, the continent, which is crazy.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Imagine what that would do for the game.
Right, and I think the NBA has always been smart, and maybe that is a disadvantage for Vancouver, which is making Toronto the team of the country, and then you got a team in Mexico City that's a team of the country of Mexico, the country of Mexico. They already have a G League team, like you said. They said the G League practice facility, the setup, is one of the nicer setups in all of the G League, which is pretty cool. I just saw Juan Toscano Anderson. Shout out to him. Yeah, but what about the altitude?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The altitude is like what they say? It's 7,350 feet in the air. That's 2,000 more than Denver. Denver is a cheat code, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Like, even when Denver's half good, I'm worried about whoever gets into a playoff series with them because that's a cheat code. The altitude's a cheat code, especially if you get some good players. And if you get the Mexican fans rowdy, that could be a crazy advantage. But in situations like this, when you bring up certain cities, would the players be able to have like a say so and saying like, yo, we don't want to go to Mexico City or we don't want teams to get this, cities to get this team or that team? You think there's some behind the scenes like cheers for that or no?
I would think yes. We got the competition committee within the union, the coaches, and the NBA coming together with rule changes. How do we want the game to be played? That's a conversation I want to have with you as well, especially with the game becoming more global. It's very fragmented in terms of your transition from high school to college to the NBA, and it's no longer, connected in the manner it used to be. And I think that's why we're seeing more international players have success early on in the league, and the American players are a little further behind, or it feels like they're catching up with us if we don't have our top talent. So I think that's something that we do have to fix. But I'm saying all that to say, when you have a team in Mexico City as an expansion, I think it helps them because you're normally not as good coming out as an expansion team. But when you have the altitude on your side, it makes for a more balanced environment. Now, 15, 20 years in, it could be a competitive advantage in the regular season. But I think it makes for great basketball. And then, like you said, the population of Mexico, we're going to get into a TV deal. It's been having a lot of conversations around the media rights. It's a whole country that is huge into sports in terms of soccer and how important soccer is to them, and then making basketball that next sport that's very, very, very like close to their vest with country and pride.
Yeah. You want to know something I seen on a list? They had Louisville up here, and actually DraftKings had them in like the top 6 odds. And I've been in Louisville a couple. I've been in Louisville a couple times for the Derby.
Right.
So the KFC Yum Center is very, very like when you pull up to Louisville, you're like, damn, what is that? Because I would have never guessed. Besides the baseball bat, so I would never guess I was there. And then you also have like Dan Issel, NBA legend. He's trying to be on a committee to raise it. He's been about that for like 4 or 5 years. But one thing, like you said, with Vancouver, is they have a decent amount of billionaires, but there's so much money there, also in Kentucky. And also, like, it's not saying it's only $2.5 billion, but I think with Louisville, if they had a spot to really set up, I'm not arguing for them, but it made me want to say, like, okay, if they have Louisville on the list, I really believe Columbus, Ohio could be a real city for an NBA team.
Okay. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but go ahead. I want you to finish.
All right, cool. All right, For one downtown, we already have like the Blue Jackets. So we have the Blue Jackets, Columbus Crew. So those are 2 pretty big teams. We have capacity downtown. So the arena at Nationwide fits like 21,000 people. We have, I believe we have a decent amount of money in the area as well. So we have the Schottenstein family. We have the Wexner family. So Les Wexner, that's a Limited 2 brand. We have Ohio State, one of the biggest institutions in the world, along with 60,000 plus students. And then I just feel like the downtown area is a walkable area. It's somewhat similar to how the Indiana Pacers have set up their arenas. I feel like it would make for like a better environment. I think it's really doable, to be completely honest with you.
All right, I'm sorry to break this down.
Tell me.
Such a simple explanation.
Tell me, I got to hear.
It's the same reason why Austin will never get a professional basketball team. It's the same reason why Louisville will never get a professional basketball team. It's the same reason why Columbus will never get a professional basketball team.
Why not?
Because those cities rely so heavily, or I shouldn't say rely, they are controlled by the universities that have such an large footprint on sports, whether it be basketball or football. And I learned this while I spent some time in Austin. And yeah, they were mad at you for saying Memphis moved to Nashville. I was in the thinking that would San Antonio serve better in Austin? And we're just thinking of, we just turning our business hats. We're putting our business hats on. Everyone's saying you're I'm trying not to curse, but shitting on a particular city. And it's not that. The same way the governors of NBA
your
teams,
arena in the parking lot. That's all I'm saying. But keep going. Yeah.
Right. I'm saying the same thing you're saying. They get on us, as players when we say, well, you mean to tell me the owners can think of this manner, but we can't? That's what we're saying when we're saying, okay, this city would be financially healthier or produce higher profits and earnings in another city. That's all we're saying. Yeah. But that's why Austin would never get an NBA team, which is like Louisville the same way. Louisville is like top 5 year in, year out, regardless of the team success or the record in terms of basketball revenue that's brought to the university, which is brought to the city, brought to jobs, so on and so forth. Yeah. You bring in another, like, why haven't we had a successful college basketball team in the city of New York? Like, it's crazy. You can say LA, kinda. LA's the same, but those are so big that it can exist. Yeah. It's just like the city of Chicago's on the list, adding a second basketball team. Yeah. It could work because the city's that big. But in cities, those Bible Belt cities, especially, which that's one of my phobias and fears in life is below that Bible Belt line. But that's why Columbus, Louisville always struggle, and this is why I would pick a city like Kansas City over them, actually.
Okay.
That would be my thinking. And so sorry that Columbus will never get an NBA team. and neither will
All right.
Louisville, and neither will Austin. NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball is back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is celebrating with an unbeatable offer. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for throwing down $5 on the NBA. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. You'll start the season with an instant dub. And with DraftKings parlays, everyone's got a shot at an even bigger basketball wins. String together multiple bets from the same game or build your parlay across multiple games for a shot at making your payday even sweeter. Basketball is more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code POINTFORWARD. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly for betting just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code POINTFORWARD. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino Resort, Kansas licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, Louisiana, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms for eligibility, deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Point forward.
And without further ado, we have a very special guest coming back onto Point Forward Podcast. He was with us before. Jay-Z had his 444. I feel like this is our version of 333. This is the third episode of season 3 with number 3.
That's all right. I like that. I hope some good luck comes from that type of shit.
Y'all welcome Dwyane Wade. Today we have a special guest, a repeat offender. And when I say that, I also speak to his mean pump fake, but it only applies on the court. In this instance, he promises he will be back for season 2, so he didn't pump fake us. We appreciate that, especially with everything that he has going on. It's just a blessing to have another conversation with him because of all the other things that he's been just killing it at. You know, not only is he attempting to do some new things, but he's succeeding in attempting those new things. Y'all welcome back. He has so many names now. I actually saw you were a question on a game show that I just recently saw with DC Young Fly. DC Young Fly.
The Celebrity Squares?
Yeah, I never saw that, and it was just randomly on. And the guy was asked, was your nickname The Flash or Iron Man? He said Iron Man. He absolutely got it wrong, meaning he didn't watch basketball. But you are now known as Renaissance Man, the Renaissance Man. And we want to welcome you back to another episode of Point Forward. So we appreciate Mr. Dwyane Wade from Robinson, Illinois, joining us.
He said from Robbins.
Robbins. I used to say Illinois with an S, and they made fun of me. So I'm still struggling with the cities as well.
I still butchered Illinois. I think I butchered it in my Hall of Fame speech. I just said how we grew up saying it. Like, I say Illinois. And like,
yes.
I just butchered it. But everybody back at the crib was probably like, But man, thanks for welcoming me back, man. I just want to start off by saying I really love. I'm a fan of obviously you guys as individual people, but watching you two together, man, that's that peanut butter and jelly right there, man. Y'all go together very well. I love the conversations that y'all have, man. They so broad and they're needed, especially for us athletes, man. So we appreciate you guys for this platform, and thanks for having me on again.
No, thanks for coming back. I know I saw you in Paris not too long ago, and I remember one thing that kind of stuck in our mind when we interviewed you last time was like, yo, you had such a good time, but you're like, yo, I want to talk business more. Yeah. And I think one thing that occurred was like trying to get you back on, but also highlighting the transition of athletes from athletes to businessmen and regular people in this world. And I remember I was at a gala last week, and a woman from Facebook came up and was like, oh, you must be the athlete. And I was like, well, I haven't been an athlete in like 3 years, and people remind me that I'm no longer an athlete, and I'm literally trying to sit here and transition and make it. And in this situation, it seems like you're making it because, since you bought the Utah Jazz, they're up 30%, correct?
Since I invested.
Since you invested, my fault. You're a humble individual, so no, so definitely I'm glad to have you on.
I invested in it. Yeah, man, you know what, Ed? I think we try so hard to get away from the athlete, and we spent our whole life trying to become the best athlete that we can. And when we trying to walk into a different room in a different arena, we want to get rid of that because we want to be seen more than, right? And so I think that's a journey that we all gonna have to go down. But I'm in this space now where I'm like, am I trying to run away from what I've worked my ass off to become? for people to respect me when I walk in the room, because if you know an athlete, if you know a great athlete, if you know someone who's been through what we've been through, actually you should have more respect when you walk in the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, what we go through. So you know what? I'm not shedding the athlete no more, man. I've been trying to. I've been like, nah, I'm a business. No, you know what? If you want to position me and call me an athlete, I am that, and I'm also this. So let's talk about what I am now as well. But let's not run away from it, man. We worked our tail off to be noticed and to be recognized as one of the great as a part of being great athletes. So that's been my trying to retrain my thoughts.
So I'm new to this as well. Just retiring. You're 4 years
Yes,
out.
sir. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, but you're 4 years out. And so how would you self-proclaim yourself as the Renaissance man, which we know well about, all the things that you're doing on the business side, the philanthropic side, we're going to dig into that. But what does Renaissance man mean to you?
That's just, someone who can not who's great at everything, obviously, but someone who does everything, who does it all. You know what I mean? In a sense, you just kind of bring it together and be like, that's a Renaissance man. Someone who is multi-talented in a lot of different areas and a lot of different conversations, who can walk in any room and have a conversation with anybody because of, because of your talentedness that people might not know about. I think for me, like you said, Ed, when we walk in the room, it's immediately he's an athlete.
Yeah.
But then we're gonna sit down, and if you want to talk about wine, then let's talk about wine. If you want to talk about investing, you want to talk about ownership, you want to talk about these things, let's do that. You want to talk about sneakers, so like you want to talk about photographs. Like I'm in this point now where I just went to the dark room the other day. Now I can talk to people about the film room, like going back to like film. You make film and process. So I think a Renaissance man is just not allowing yourself to be stuck in one place, and continue to open your mind and continue to educate yourself on making sure that it's no conversation in a room that you can't have. And if you can't have it because you haven't experienced it, then go learn it. So the next time that comes up in the room again, now you can be a part of that conversation.
That's real. So at what point, I know you said earlier that you didn't, you don't mind being an athlete and being recognized as an athlete. But when you on your path to becoming a Renaissance man, at what point did you stop looking at yourself as D Wade the superstar and started to make the progression off the court? At what year in the league was that? Because you won a championship pretty early on, and I understand trials and tribulations of being a superstar and the obligations that come with it. When did you start breaking off and saying, "Yo, I need to focus on something different"?
I think I started focusing on different when the injuries started to hit. We all know when you start playing, when you play this game and you having injuries after injuries, as confident as we are, we lack some confidence too. Am I going to get back to that level? Am I going to be perceived as this? But also too, it gives you time to see other things and understand that, oh wait, basketball is not everything. Because to get to where we all got to, basketball had to be everything at one point in our life. And so for me, man, for my first time where I started thinking that way was my injuries that I had in 2007 when I had shoulder surgery and I had my left knee surgery at the same time. I didn't know if I would get back to form. And so I started thinking, like, with my career ended today, what do I have to show for it? And that started my journey to, hey, all right, what does it look like to build a team? I started asking questions. I started being like, hey, I don't have enough. And I ain't talking about enough money. I don't have enough to continue I'm 20 some years old, and I know I'm supposed to live a long time. So I need to know more. I need to learn more. I need people around me that can help me understand what I don't understand, kind of all these things. So I was young then at 2007. I was 25 years old when I started changing my mindset.
So I got a question about that specifically. We always talk about time management as athletes. As soon as we come into the league, they tell us we'll have a bunch of time on our hands.
Right.
And then you talk about once you get injured, you have more time on your hands outside of rehab and how you use that time to start thinking about other things. Now that you're retired, can you give folks a glimpse of what it's like to be an athlete with a lot of time on your hands, with a lot of money, versus now being a retired player? You still got the same things in place, you just don't have that basketball piece. So how do you replace that? And then how's your mental and how's it progressed as you've gotten older and matured more?
Yeah, man, that's a great question, because it's some days where I have all the time in the world. I'm like, man, I'm trying to fill my time up, you know what I mean? And then there's some days where you don't. And and it's tough because it's a part of me. Like I'm involved in a lot of different things, right? And they tell you to do that, right? And we want to do it because we want to stay busy. We used to being busy, and so you want to be involved in all these different things. You want to make sure that if I can win over here, or I can win over here, I can win over here. But in the midst of that, I'm also learning too. I'm also learning that uh, I don't know if that's a good thing because I'm not focused on just one thing. You know, when when I was becoming a basketball player, I was just focused on one thing and becoming great at that, and I became great at that. Now my attention is all over the place, and so I think the biggest thing is when you are a former athlete or you're someone who's entering business, is to understand that you're starting at the bottom of it, right? You may come in with some business deals that you did, you may come in with some relationships that you built, but when it comes from the knowledge, unless you went to school for this or you've been living this, you come from the bottom when it comes to actually knowing business and knowing all the things around business. And so for me, it's just really like being in school, but doing it in real life.
I always try to tell young guys that use your celebrity to try to gain access. When you first start looking for knowledge and insight, did you use anybody that was sitting courtside, at the arena? Did you use anybody, that had crazy connections to the team? Like, how did you start opening up that access in order to let people know that you're interested? I know when you first got injured, you went to the Harvard Business School, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I did. So exactly, man. You just said it. I've always done things like that. Like, it's tough to say I use people on the court side because we don't know who to trust when we're athletes, man. We,
Yeah.
come in,
Yeah,
they
that's
say
real.
that we know they like, oh, this such and such owns this, he got this, they got that. And I was always like, yeah, okay, well, I'm here to play basketball. I ain't really trying to build too many relationships because I don't have enough time to build it so I can trust these individuals. And so I don't have too many relationships from people that sat courtside at our games. Now, what I have done along the way is I have some business partners. I do have people who I do trust that have introduced me to people, because if I trust you and you introduce me to them, then now I give them a chance. So
Hmm.
I've kind of done that. But Ryan Smith was my first. Andre, you know him
Yep.
very well. Ryan was the first person that kind of walked me into certain doors. And I said I want to learn about tech. Well, he took me to these tech conferences. We sat on stage together. We walked through. I met everybody and I know all the things that's coming out for the next 5 years because we sat and met everyone. And so really finding someone you trust that's in business that can and that is willing, because everyone is not willing.
And with Ryan, what have you learned from where you can have tons of deals and as athletes, everything's getting pitched to us tons of times? How do you recognize a good deal? I think that's one thing that gets lost in the sauce. We all say we own this and we have equity in this and we do this and a third, but it's like you could be owning half of a bag of doo-doo. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
100% of nothing is nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Right. What's 15% of zero? Like,
So
so,
you don't know you got a good deal. So what's your, like, I think sometime, first of all, when you come into a deal, what is your goal in this deal? If is it money? Is it access? Is it education? Like coming into it and understanding what is it that you're looking for from this deal. That's what's going to make it a good deal. If you come into every deal saying it's just money, then it's going to be a lot of deals that ain't going to be good because you're not going to make money on all these deals, right? Like it doesn't
right.
happen. And so, first of all, identifying the reason. Every deal I go into, man, and I don't want to say this because everybody like, yeah, you want to make money, and of course we do. But certain deals I go into is to get access. It's to be educated. It's to be in a room where I've never been before and I may not get. So let me let me pay to play, like whatever the case may be. And so you got to find out what it is. And so for me, like let's just take the WNBA. Being an investor in the NBA and got opportunity, and I got my towel right here and representing.
Okay, there we go.
I got an opportunity to invest into the Chicago Sky, the WNBA. Well, the first person I went to was Ryan. Hey, this is an opportunity that's come to me. What do you think about the WNBA? What do you think about me being involved? So forth and so on. And I listened to him. I took everything that he told me, and I kind of took it into my own thought process. I took it back to my team. Hey, this is what my business partner is saying about this opportunity. Let's look at it this way. So he just helped me even think about my investment into the WNBA and how to look at it. And so it's just asking those questions, right? From people that you trust, that's going to give you straight answers.
So I want to bring up something that you said came from just being in the league and using your connections and network, and how you've changed the way you brought out your wine. right? And so you've got an amazing rollout on how you rolled out the wine. Talk to us about how you got into it, because I know you spoke about, there's been understanding your family issues with alcohol in the past. You never were into it as an athlete. We tend to stay away from us, especially us, the fit guys that got to run around crazy. You're always looking for an edge, so you stay away from that. But you saw this as a business play, but also once you learn more about it, you become you acquire that special taste and those notes.
Yeah.
So tell us about how you got to wine and then how you turned that into a business.
So my first probably real drink that I would say was probably at like 28 years old. When I first came in the league, drinking wasn't even like my whole life. It wasn't even the focus of mine. A lot of it was because of the community that I grew up in.
Yep.
And when it came to drugs, any form of drugs, however you want to look at it, besides those pills that I ended up taking, Toradol, but any forms of drugs or alcohol, I wasn't into it because I saw what it did to people that I love. And, I was really goal focused and I wanted to accomplish something. And then, after accomplishing something and being around and, living the nightlife in Miami and having veteran guys like Alonzo and, GP and Shaq and being around all those guys, I eventually, started to be like, okay, I can see how I can enjoy this. And so I slowly got into wine. And in the midst of that, it became a passion. It became something that you guys know. We go to Napa Valley, some guys travel to Burgundy, France. Like we have these capabilities because of who we are to be able to go and drink some of the best wines, and we get a chance to meet some of the best winemakers in the world. And so my passion started from there, and I sparked up a business deal to kind of just do one wine. Like, hey, let's just do one. And then I liked it, and I stayed in it, and now I've been in it 9 years. And in the midst of being in it 9 years, I realized in year 9 I got so much further to go to learn, what I need to learn in this industry. If I could do it all over again, I would come into it way different than I did the first time. I would come into it 100% the owner of anything that I do. But I was coming in looking for a partner because I'm like, hey, I don't know this space. I need to partner with somebody that can help me navigate through this world. And that wasn't a bad thing. But now going into my 10th year, I'm like, man, I want the ball in my hand a little bit more.
Yeah.
I want to make a little bit more decisions that, when you have partners that you can't make 100% of the decisions. And so it's a lot of things, man, that I would love to sit down with, especially when it comes to athletes that are trying to get into certain things, of just giving them different ways to look at how they went into it. I'm in it for the long haul, hopefully, but the way I got in it, I would do it different now. I just kind of jumped in it because I was passionate about it. And it's been great. I've seen Melo now, we had Aspen Food and Wine. I see CJ.
Right.
We had Aspen Food and Wine. I see CP, who's an investor into. We had Aspen Food and Wine. So I see it growing within athletes, and I'm proud to be sitting at that table. But I also know that it's so much that we need to learn from the business side if we want to be successful in wine that we don't know. And so that's the process now for me, is to learn how to, the next 10 years, how is Wade Cellars going to get to the point where we on the radar at all when it comes to really making a big impact in the wine industry.
And I want to just give a shout out real quick, ET, to CJ. He has McCollum Heritage 91. And then a big shout out to Shannon Fry, who's like my brother from Arizona. He has Chosen Family Wine. So we want to get him a huge shout out. Go ahead, ET.
Yeah, bro.
Well, you're saying something about learning. I know one thing that occurred that's super important to you. You said like in our culture, we usually have hard liquor and vodka, forced upon us. So we oftentimes get a negative, response in regards to alcohol. And I was trying to, I comprehend that you joined the UC Board of Leadership to try to educate more people in a circle like us, as well as, diversify that type of culture. How did you get into that, and talk to us about, joining leadership board and at UC Davis, their most premier wine program?
Yeah, bro. Just really a thirst for knowledge. And once again, using, my name, using my celebrity, using my position to get that knowledge. And you probably hear me keep saying it. And I'm literally a 41-year-old student in the world. And I'm definitely a student in the businesses that I'm a part of, but I'm also a student in the ones that I'm not, right? Other things that I'm interested in, whether it's art, whatever it is, I'm becoming a student in all these areas. And so getting a chance to sit on the board of UC Davis is to get a chance to be in the room once again where it happens.
And then we go into another sector that you jumped into, talk about the media landscape and 59th and Prairie Entertainment. Talk to us how that came about. You had the Redeem team where you were a producer on that, and it's a Netflix deal, which is a huge deal. Then Warner Brothers and Bleacher Report, and how you done your deals with that. How have you thought about the media landscape, distribution? Owning, owning your likeness, and then what different types of projects you've been wanting to put out, and how you partner with other people in the projects that you put out.
Yeah, man, I think it's a lot of us, especially a lot of athletes who we're storytellers. First of all,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like we are
Mhm.
storytellers. And, to be, I said this recently talking to my brother Mello, to be able to come out of certain communities that we come out of, we had to create stories in our mind. We had to create that dream and that visual in our mind. We became storytellers way before we got production companies. And so I love telling stories, and I love being a part of telling stories. And so starting 59th and Prairie, giving a nod back to where I grew up in Chicago, it's all about that. It's about highlighting stories, man. It's about telling the stories that I want to tell and that I feel like other people want to hear and listen to. It's a very tough industry. It's very competitive, as we know. And so to be able to get wins like the Redeem team, to be able to be an executive producer on The Cube, which I was a host as well, to be able to get these wins, it helps. But it's hard to get these scripts passed and get it on TV, and if you get it on TV to have it continue to stay on there.
Right.
So I give so much credit to the Issa Rays of the world, the individuals who are doing it at the level and the scale that they're doing it at. We only can hope to do it. So right now we're partnering with individuals. We're highlighting other stories, and in the midst of that, we're getting wins. And so I got to get up a lot of love to John Marcus, who is my partner in this at 59th and Prairie, because every day this is what he do. He eats, sleeps, and breathes, trying to make sure that 59th can highlight the stories that is a part of our ethos. And that's some stories that you never heard. That's sports stories like the Redeem team and other stories,
Yes.
so forth and so on. There's families that look unconventional. All the things that I embody and that he embodied, we
Mhm.
try to highlight these stories because we know we're not the only ones who want to hear these stories and want to see these stories.
And it's inspiring. It's so inspiring. Sorry, ET, but like
Yeah, no worries.
watching that stuff is, like I send that stuff to my young boys, my rookies. Man,
Yeah.
make sure you watching The Last Dance. Go watch the Redeem team. Go watch this. And I'm not doing it thinking I gotta support D Wade. I'm doing it because you made a great body of work. Like you're an artist. And it's such, I just want to just say that, man, like it's such a beautiful thing to see. And like the unconventional family, and how do me on the outside looking in, how do I approach it? How should I be thinking about it? So I do want to just thank you for that. Like you've changed the way I think on a lot of different topics, whether it's basketball, life, business, all those things. And that's inspiring for us to keep doing for one another. So I appreciate that.
Man, I appreciate you saying it. And I think one of the most important things for us is as you're going, I'm in this journey. So my
Mhm.
my wins, and I take the small wins and I celebrate the small wins as well. But my wins are small. But how do we know if no one shares with us? We have a lot of people who are successful that maybe we know or we look up to, but if they're not sharing with us how they become successful, then it's no, then it's gonna take us 10 years before we learn something we could have learned in year one if we had a different kind of, you know, orbit of people that want to see us continue to win. And so for me, man, all I've tried to do along this journey is show those wins and show those those different success moments, and also tell, like right now, like it's people here that's way more successful than I am, but I'm willing to talk about this journey before I become the success that I want to be, because we need to know like what's the steps. What I mean? We understand that all these steps ain't gonna be, it ain't gonna be a championship every time, that sometimes you're gonna have to go here to go all the way back just to get back there. And so it's important, man. And that's why I said what you guys are doing, the platform that y'all have, y'all getting people to tell stories. Y'all getting people to tell what's the journey, how the journey is, because people are listening and we need to hear that. If we don't know, then we don't know.
That's right. I want to move on to something different because obviously we want to keep pitching you as a Renaissance man. And recently, your wife and you won, what was it, the President's Award at the NAACP?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes, sir.
2023 award for your philanthropic work. So when it comes down to that, it's always so crazy. We're talking about everything as a businessman. Have you been able to squeeze in that time and also make a big splash in that sense? There's a lot of people that show up when it's good for them, but you constantly show up for that battle day in and day out. Where does that come from? What does it mean for you to win that award?
Well, I mean, it's an honor, obviously, right? Like, the individuals who have been chosen to represent that award. I mean, you can ask anybody if you know anybody that's around me, you can ask them. I did not want to accept the award because I didn't feel that I deserved the award. Just being honest, and maybe that's people say, oh, he's been humble. I feel like it's so much more that to do. And when you start accepting awards, and it puts you there like, oh, look, yeah, he's doing it, and I have so much more to do, and it's a lot of things that I do that I don't even want to be publicized. I don't want people to know because I don't do things just for that. But also
Hmm.
too, I understand what standing in place looks like at the same time. And I knew that being on that stage and standing in place for multiple communities was important. To see a black man, to see a black father, my wife is a black woman, to see us standing on that stage accepting that award and saying the things that we were saying, that moment was important, more so than the actual award. But like I said, I definitely understand, man. I've been able to, because of the experiences of life, I've been able to experience a lot of different communities, a lot of different cultures that a lot of people that are from our community that we didn't grow up knowing about and definitely accepting. And so for me, man, sometimes just standing in a place, and taking all the hits that I take, what I mean, taking all these, it has to be bigger than you. It can't just be about you. It has to be about moving things forward. And so everything I try to do when it comes to philanthropic, is just moving things forward. Even if I got to take the hits and from what other people say, the conversations, the lives that you can change by opening your mouth and sharing certain things, is important, and we need that. And so we try to do that.
Yeah. You mentioned moving things forward, and even though you take a hit, recently you picked up and moved from Florida, where Dade County was quote unquote Wade County, in order to move to California.
Yeah.
In respect to protect your family and your rights, and all the craziness that's occurring in Florida. Talk about that. How tough was that? And I guess, like, since you retired, who would have thought, coming from the South Side and just trying to be an NBA star, you're catapulted into all these real life issues where you have to take a stand on. It's
Yeah.
not only impressive, but it's admirable, because some people would fall away from it and be like, it's not my problem, and I
Right.
don't want to deal with this and be upset, and continue to say, no, I'm D Wade in this sense, and not elevate and take on more fights.
Yeah, man. I just speak on what has been presented to me in my life. I don't speak on everything because I'm not knowledgeable on everything.
Yeah,
I'm a person who's going to speak out now, not being as knowledgeable on something. And so when it comes to my family, I'm knowledgeable on that. I know my family. Everybody out there may think they know him, but I know him, right? And
Hmm.
so, when it came down to just thinking about my children, and and where I felt that they was going to be able to be them best selves and be able to succeed, um, you know, I looked at my daughter Zaya, as my son Zaire was like a junior already once I retired, and so he was pretty much cooked. But I looked at my next child, which was Zaya, who was in seventh grade, and we just realized that the community that she needed, um, it was not in Florida.
yeah,
Unfortunately, it wasn't there. And even though we tried to force it, we went up to the schools, we tried to talk about, hey, do you guys have a community? Do you guys have a queer community? What are y'all doing with the queer community? How are they activated? And it wasn't really a lot of it. And so from there, we started to say, okay, we have to find a community that Zaya, that our daughter can succeed in, that she can
yeah,
become what she's becoming today in. And California was that for our family. And when we decided to move out, now you get even more things that's coming out from. And I don't like to get in. I tell people all the time, like, I politic, I politic, but I'm not a politician.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to
yes,
be a
sir.
politician. And people think because you speak out on issues and because you can speak well, that you should be a politician. That's not something that I'm trying to do. But I know how to politic very well, right? At the same time, it's like politicking without without being a politician. But in the midst of it, I'm a protector of my family, and the safety of my daughter, the community for my daughter. California had that community for her, and that's why we decided to move west and decided to pay a lot of taxes when I didn't pay any taxes at all throughout my NBA career, because it was about my child
They
reaching her.
hit you in the head.
Oh, it's hitting me in the head like y'all can't even see this. Is my bedroom, my closet. No, I'm just playing. But it had to be like, once again, if you're doing something and it's about you, then there's only gonna be so much you're gonna be able to accomplish. But if it's bigger than you, listen, you're a champion. You know what I'm talking about. When you do something in life that it's not about you and it's bigger than you, the amazing things that you can accomplish, that you will see the success. Like I see my daughter shining in a way, and I ain't talking about shining in where the public know. I'm talking about individually shining, walking with her chest out, with her head up, with the confidence that I want my child to walk through this world with. And a lot of it is because of the change of scenery. And so if I gotta, take a step back and give up Wade County and let it be Butler Block or whatever the hell, I don't know what Jimmy called it.
Butler Block.
I don't know.
That's a dirty block.
Ego's not big enough, for that, man. It is ultimately about, making sure that, hopefully the ones that I love are in the place where they can become their best selves, like I'm trying to become my best self as well.
Yeah. So as a parent, especially a retired parent, which I'm new to this, and I done got chewed out a few times. How you find that balance? On one hand, like, you got so much going on. You got days where you might not have anything to do that day. You want to fill it up. But those days they're too filled up. It's like, oh, I haven't spoken to my kids today. But understanding, because the male ego can get in the way in terms of I'm providing. But at the same time, it's like your presence is key with your children as well. So in terms of being a Renaissance man, how does parenting play in that role in that, and how do you look at succeeding as a parent? Because we still don't know everything. Like every day as a parent is a learning experience.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I don't think we're gonna know if we succeed until they're about in their 40s. That's when you get to see, like, how did I do? My parents are now like, oh, okay, we did all right. You know what I'm saying? I think one for me, what I've tried to do is I've tried to be realistic. I'm not trying to be unrealistic and say, hey, I'm gonna be at everything, and that's not my journey. Like I'm still trying to build business. I'm the first in my family to bring in these kind of resources, and so it don't just stop because I retired. I have to continue to keep going. So that means I'm gonna have less time with everyone, right? And so I'm realistic with that. But what I do, man, is when I do have time, when I do carve out the time, the moments, the quality of time that I spend with my mom and my dad and my kids are so important. And so like I always say date. Like I date my kids, I date my people. I make sure that I go into, okay, what is it that they want to do? What is it that they like? Or what do I want to expose them to? Like is like I don't just do it. My time, I ain't just spending time. I'm spending quality time and important time with all my people. And they feel that. They feel that it's organic. They feel that it's real. That it's not just me. Just hey, I'm here for a little while and now I'm going just to show face.
Right.
And so, man, I spend time, man. Like tomorrow morning, like I want to get up and I want to do yoga in the morning, right, real early. But I also want to make sure I'm at drop off for my daughter, who's kindergarten, and I also want to make sure that I'm at lunch with my son, who's 10 years old. But I also want to make sure I get to the gym with that. Like I got all these things I want to do, and so it's for me to carve out the time. And like when I get done with this, I'm about to carve out a time and we're about to go make some food for my mom and spend that time with her. So I just try to find these things that I know is important for them. And when I have that time, that's where I'm spending it. I'm spending it on something that I know is important to you. Or I'm just sitting there listening to you like Zaya. I'm going to listen to her because she's going to educate me. She's going to give me so much. And so I sit in there with my little black book, which is up here, and I listen to her speak and talk about her life in high school and all these things. So, man, it's just really quality time, making sure that you're doing it, and you putting those quality moments, you putting these moments together that for them is going to make the picture that they want. And so I'm all about moments, and they can't have me at 100% because if they do, you're going to lose yourself. But when they do have me, they got me, and I'm gonna give them everything I have from attention and from love and from experiences and all these things. But I'm gonna be realistic also and say I'm not gonna be at everything. I'm not going to be, you know what I'm saying? Like my fatherhood is not going to look like that person's fatherhood or that person's fatherhood, but this is how I show up. And ultimately that's what's important for me is that I show up, and I show up whether my son's playing in Africa, whether my daughter has a recital and I've just got back from Africa, wherever it is, I show up. And so that's what's important for me.
As my son just FaceTime me, that boy crazy.
Lil Dre's a man. You talk about investing in your kids and spending time with your kids, and everybody sees that way different. But we joked earlier, and Kavia already has a soccer team in her name, along with I don't know if she's part owner or proudly, but you also look at things that you did with Zaire, where it came down to making sure he had the right situation for basketball, and the same way with Zaya. Talk about how important it is to not only create opportunities, but also pass them off to your family. I still love the Muanoi opportunity that your dad had, that commercial like 20 years ago.
Not the Muanoi,
but it was lit. I'm like, oh, damn. Like, he turned up. Like, I was sitting there like, man, good for Mr. Wade. Like, he was a real star. And, you hear certain people, you even listen to Shaq, and he might be like, yo, I make my kids go earn everything they have, or they can't buy this, or they can't get that. And we all, and Dre and I talk about what level it is to give to your children and when it's too much of a spoil. But I think it's also like very important to provide and give access. Can you talk about the steps you take in regards as a parent to not spoil them too much, but to also make sure they're good?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm doing a good job of this not spoiling or over. Like I said, I find out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one thing I do know is what I bring to the table from the time away from my family, often building, the things that we do have, is I bring resources to the table, right? Like all have resources because of those things, and so I want my kids to tap into our resources. I don't want to do everything for you, but I want you to understand everything that you have an opportunity to be a part of and do. And all these individuals that you have an opportunity to reach out to, ask questions to, here go all your resources. And that's the one thing in our community that we lack. We lack resources. And so our kids, the blessing, and I try to tell them, don't run away from it. Don't run away from how hard I work to make sure that we have some as simple as resources that is not simple in our community. And so in the midst of that, it's certain things that we feel that, this is something that, we want to get Cobb into, we want to get Zaire into, and just knowing your kids. And so for me, Zaire is the CEO of all this for me. I'm 41 right now. I look at Zaire, I'm like, hey, by the time I'm 55, you're going to be 35. Come on, CEO, it's going to be time for you to run the show.
That's right.
And so along the way, I got to take him with me. You need to learn business. You got to be in some of these meetings. You got to be on some of these calls. You got to travel to China with me. You got to see how this stuff works.
He know how much them alcohol cost though.
You know how much? Look, he know more than me. He like, this is
That was
cold. You know what I mean? And so it's really like educating and taking them with you, and so they can understand, certain things. And Zaire's a student. Zaya's a student. Like I'm watching her in Paris and at the fashion shows, and I'm watching her in these rooms sitting with Miss Prada and doing all this, but I'm watching her also learn and clock everything and ask questions or be quiet enough, you know what I mean, to listen to everything. And so I just want to put them in certain situations to see how they're going to respond to it, to see what they get from it, because we don't get in those rooms often. And so it's my duty and my job to make sure that my kids, all of them, at least have a seat at some tables. And from there, hopefully they grow, whether they grow the Wade brand or, they come up and create something else that we have never seen, and they grow that and they teach us that. So, man, it's just about, once again, while I'm learning, it's my job to teach. And sometimes teaching is, hey, come on, be a part of this with us and learn how to take it from wherever we are as a family and take it up there. You know what I mean? Like, create your own path throughout what we've already built as well. You don't always have to go out. I think in our community, sometimes they think, I got to go get it on my own.
Yeah.
No, we're doing a lot. We're putting a lot of work in. I'm spending a lot of time away. And so once you see what we got and where you can take what we're doing and how can you elevate that, and now you do that on your own. You know what I'm saying, within the family. And so just trying to get them to understand that, because that wasn't taught to us. We had to go out and get it on our own. I don't want them to have to go get it on their own. I want them to build from within. But if you do find someone along the way, then please bring me along and educate me too. Or, you know what I'm saying? And so trying to really bring what family is to me and making sure my kids understand what that is.
So in terms of losses, everyone sees our wins. This made this much money. You made that. Everyone asked me about my Zoom investment. You a trillionaire with the Zoom investment. Everyone talks about that, but not understanding, the tech space is like roulette. You place 36 bets, and it's similar odds, just multiplied. And we've talked about, your success with wine, your success with the skincare product, the presidential award with NAACP, the entertainment company, all these things that you're succeeding in. I want to dive into how we deal with losses, because we've all had losses, and particularly in the business space. You know, like I've had investments go to zero that look promising, plenty of them. And I know you've had, you know, people love highlighting our losses as well. So how do you respond to those things? And, you know, what do you try to take from that process of, you know, what I did right, what I did wrong?
Well, it's education. You know what I mean? Like, just like your wins, like I said, we celebrate our wins, whether it's big or small. We're gonna celebrate them however we decide to do that. But also too, when we have our losses, man, that's where the education is. Education ain't really in the wins. I ain't gonna even hold you. The education is in the losses. You're right. Don't take it as a loss, take it as a lesson. And I think as athletes, what we do know is, you know, those L's that we took along our journey is what made us who we were and who we are. And so in business, it's the same thing. I don't take it, you know, we've put money in a lot of investments that you ain't never seeing again. Right. And I've had some investments that I was like, I ain't seeing nothing. And then eventually I was like, wait a minute, 5-6 years later, I'm like, wait, it's doing something. It's alive. So it's really, man, just educating yourself on why you had those losses. You know what I'm saying? Why did you invest in those? Why did you invest with those people? What did you learn from that investment? And so you ain't going to win on every day. You're going to lose days. You're going to lose moments. You're going to lose investments. You're going to lose games. But in the midst of that, we go back and we watch film, don't we?
Yes, sir.
Right. We watch film, we break down film, we talk about, okay, why this is, we missed that defensive assignment, we missed that defensive assignment, we missed that shot. So that's the same thing in business. Go back and understand why you lost. Why did you lose in that instant?
I wanted to ask you something, because I know you said in your later years you always enjoy you know, drinking wine and having business conversations. And in a mixture of that, I think you also said, I made my career, I've had a GOAT career, but I might not be in the debate for GOATs. And one thing that I noticed from the older generations of like Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, everything like that, when you talk to LeBron or Carmelo or D Wade, are y'all like, yo, this is a marathon? Like, we did this basketball shit a little bit, but like wait until the next level in next 30 or 40 years. I'm gonna blow this shit out the water. Let's see who accumulates more. Do y'all ever have that type of battles? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you guys never stop the competition. And I think it's pretty dope when you see the way that Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan paved to what you guys are doing now.
True story.
It's unbelievable. Even how the union built so much, has grown so much. It's like we have to have those real combos and really celebrate where we just came from in like 2 short decades.
Yeah, man. I think one thing we have the ability now to see is when people do have wins. And I think it depends on how you take a win. So Bron has a lot of wins. I know Melo has a lot of wins in businesses, right? Like even they have more wins at times than me, and then at times I have a win. But it's just like when I get done with a game, when I was early on, I'm like, okay, what Bron do? Oh, we had 45 tonight. All right, let me, you know what I'm saying? And so it's just how it's not coming off as being a hater of someone's success. It's coming off being pushed, and you know what I'm saying, being pushed by somebody else. That, you know what I'm saying, because sometimes you think you've done it. You get a win, you do something, you like, hey, I did it. And then you like, wait, he doing what?
Yeah, it's like being friends with Dre. You know? You're like, damn, this nigga amazing.
Yeah, he a monster.
Like, God damn, again? Shit.
Yeah. No, you got a hole in one. I was hating. No, I was hating.
He said I was.
I'm like, this dude got a hole in one, and I got good and ain't got close.
I'm not good though. You good. I'd rather be good than get a hole in one, because now I didn't just raise the level for myself that I wasn't ready to raise yet. I'm up in this game.
I was skeptical. I'm like, nah, he rich enough. He rich enough to figure out a hole in one out of nowhere. I'm like, nah, I know exactly what that is.
I'm just trying to be like Steph, man. I'm trying to be good at life. When you good at life, man, when you treat people the right way, it's the karma of life. Mm-hmm. So, man, at that moment, my karma was good, man. The guy stopped the world, and he said, let me bless this young man right now. And to hit a hole in one on the 7th hole of Pebble Beach. What's up, Ryan Smith? I just thought I'd throw that out there because Ryan ain't done it. He live on Pebble Beach. But anyway, but it was great. You know how hard golf is, and to hit a lucky shot like that, man, the world stopped for about 5 minutes before I had to get back to golfing. But I was floating for a little while. I ain't gonna even lie to you.
That's real. Well, before we,
Go ahead, Et.
go, Dre. Talk.
No, I'm saying I'm waiting on that moment. I'm waiting on it, and I don't know what I'm gonna do.
You can't wait on it.
Oh man,
you can't even wait on it because you ain't gonna never know when it's gonna come. Like you can wait on. All right, I can wait on a par. Like all right, you can't wait on a hole in one because that's the luckiest. You gotta be lucky. You know what I'm saying? Like some people good, they know if I hit it with this club, it's gonna spin back because the heel. All right, we understand that, but you don't know if that ball gonna roll back in that hole. That hole as big as this.
That's
and
real.
So you gotta be. It's all luck, man. But it's also it's a blessing that when it happens. And so I just got blessed, but I wasn't prepared for you, so I just took off. I didn't know. But I like being lucky too. You know what I mean? You want to have a little luck on your side.
For sure.
D-Wade, before we get up out of here, we want to ask who you got winning the championship. Who's going to be lucky enough to hold that trophy up? And let us know.
I don't know. That's the good thing about being on this side. I don't have to know. I ain't even on TV no more where I got to tell everybody. Mm-hmm. I'm the kind of person where I need to see you. I gotta see you. Like in the beginning of the year, you're not showing me nothing. Everybody is having a good time, and you winning some games. It's like football right now. Now we getting in the football season. Now we about to get into these next 5 games. We about to see who's real and who ain't, right? And so, we can point at it and say, Denver's coming off a championship. They got the best player in the NBA. So forth and so on. Because he won a championship and he's the Finals MVP last year. So he is the best player coming back this year, no matter what polls say. That's how us as players, we say, like Giannis said, Steph won last year, he's the best player. That's how we go. That's how I roll. Mm-hmm. But you can look at all these teams and say, okay, the Lakers got a chance because now they depth and this and that. But you got to see how it all come together. You got to, what I mean? Like on Denver, I don't know who went off in the summer and had a little extra celebration where they ain't coming back and they going to provide the same thing that they provided last year. So come back to me in 2024 at some point, man, when I see all what everybody, first couple months is out the way. And now we get to get a real good look at, who's gotten better, who's really gotten better, what players going to come back that we didn't know was better, what coaching staff got better, what offense they running that is different. Like I look at the game so differently, man. I ain't about those predictions because those predictions just get you in trouble. You just guessing. And so I want to see it. And so I'll be at the games this year. I'll be watching. I'll be looking to see who got it, who got it. And I can, like Ig, and I'm sure if been on winning teams, you can walk in certain locker rooms and know if that team have a chance that time. You can walk in the locker room and know that. You ain't even got to be around that team.
Yeah, that's right.
Or if they got a chance to grow as the season go on, right, as well. Because some teams like us, when we won in 06, you'd have started the season off, nobody would have said the Heat would have won. But if you watched us grow throughout the year and throughout the playoffs, that's how we eventually became the champion team that we did because we kept growing. We kept building. Yeah. Some teams hit that plateau in December or in January or February. We kept going. And so
some teams don't even understand why it's important to buy each other meals. Like, you know what I mean? Or like sacrifice. Like the pregame meals at the arena. It's like, bro, if you know your teammate is hungry, pull out money and buy for everybody in the locker room. Not just for yourself, bro. Or I'm gonna steal your fries. Like that's like, you know what I mean?
I'm sick of is this word that everyone says they want to win. If you hear everybody interview, you say, I just want to win. Well, really? Yeah. Do you know what it takes to just want to win? Yep. What role you may have to play? Are you willing to play any role that is asked for you to win? Everybody ain't willing to do that, but everybody say they want to win.
Dude be averaging 25, 1-1, and be like, I'm just trying to win. And
just keep it real. Listen, when you first get in the league, you ain't just trying to win. You trying to get to that money, and you trying to live that dream out right away. All right, we ain't trying to win right away. We trying to get to that money because we ain't got it, and we trying to live this dream out. We want to play with the best play. Then, at some point in your career, you start focusing towards winning. But when you start focusing towards winning, what are you willing to do? Like people they can talk about all these things when they talk about someone's career. Well, this guy won with this guy, this guy won with this guy. Well, that guy was willing to win. I was willing to win with LeBron. Any means necessary. So here you go. I'll take less shots. What are you doing that you're willing to win? And that's not just on the court. That's off the court as well. Are you spending time with people's families? Do you know, like Riley came in one day, he was like, hey, do you know GP's son name? Do you know Mike Doliak's son name? We all was looking at each other like, nah. He's like, well, get to know each other. You're not going to go out and play for each other if you don't really know each other. You feel me? And
That's right.
know their families, know what he like to eat for lunch, like know all these things. And so it's a lot of people who say they want to win that will not come even close to winning because they're not willing to do whatever it takes to win.
I've chewed our third unit guys out before. Like we gonna blow a lot of people out. So y'all gonna get a lot of 5 minutes together in the games. And it should never be ugly because y'all should be constantly working in unison together because y'all spend time with each other. The reason why I look so crazy is because I know you don't know what he doing, you don't know what he doing, you don't know his favorite play, you don't know where he like to get shots. I'm like, that makes a huge difference. And for third unit guys, that could keep you in the league an extra 3-4 years. The average career is only 3 years. So y'all really on your last leg. How about you make the most of it? So spot on.
But I love talking to young players about the game. And one thing I tell, like especially someone who's a point guard, someone who's gonna have the ball. If you don't know if you don't know that I like that pass right here, I ain't Steph. I can't grab it up here, grab that joint and put it up. But if you hit it in my pocket, I'll make this for you. But if you don't know that, you got to know these small details. I got to know that when you D-roll, I can't pass that ball until that foot is planted. I can't. If I pass too early, it's too early. Like you got to know all these little small details about each teammate on your team, especially if you're one of the best players on your team. If you want everybody, if you want to win, and you need everybody to win. So if you're not sitting there watching every detail, you're not really going to get to the point where you're going to win because you need to know what everybody likes. And you know what I'm saying? Like I got to know, okay, with Shaq, he on this block, he spin out on this block. On that block, he ain't spinning out catching it. So you know what, big fella, don't spin out over there. Come out for this pick and roll. Like whatever. You got to know these little details.
Yes, sir.
And I'm all about that, man. And so to have won championships is, it's details on the court and it's details off the court. I know when LeBron eating a certain meal, I was like, oh, okay. He got 7 pancakes today. Oh, okay. We on tonight. Or he eating that much. He ain't, you know what I'm saying? Gonna be a slow morning. Or it's gonna be a slow start to the game. I gotta know all these things, man, because I need to know how you think. So I know how to play with you in moments when it gets not the first quarter, not the second quarter, not the third quarter. When they get to the fourth quarter and the last 5 minutes, I got to know how you think. I got to know what you ate today. I got to know all these things so I know what I need to give you as a leader or as one of the players.
I want to ask one last question before we get out because you're talking about leadership and knowing how you think. And one thing I always remember, I was thinking about the other day when I knew we were going to interview you, was during the 2011 finals. This is nothing crazy or anything, but it talks about how bad you want to win. And I could be I could misinterpret it, but I remember, you had to not yell at LeBron, but you had to I
was on his ass. I was on his ass.
But you might have been the only person in the world where I'm like, yo, you talk about a killer. He's like looking like, all right, bro, all that buddy shit is out the window. It's time to drop your nuts and step up. Yeah. And that's I always tell people that story about playing versus you guys and saying the Heatles were big deals, but it was no pretty shit at all. They played really hard. And then when you talk about killers, I'm like, bro, D Wade was yelling at Bron and telling me on the biggest stage and get your shit together, bro. And it's not baby him. It's no, dog, it's time to step up and do this. And I always just remember that. And that was crazy. And I guess it talks to about how mature you both are because there was no fallout after that. And you see certain teams be like, yo, I need a trade, or this is this person's fault, and I want to get up out of here. You guys were able to make it to 4 straight NBA championships and win 2 of them.
Yeah, bro. You gotta know, especially as a leader, you have to know you can't just. It's not one blueprint to each player, right? I can't talk to LeBron like I talk to Mario, like I talk to UD, like I talk to Chris Bosh. I had to know how to and when to be able to talk to those individuals. And so Bron, I knew our relationship. I knew I can talk to Bron because he can talk to me the same way. We ain't sensitive. That was first off, hey, we ain't going to be sensitive because if we want to accomplish what we want to accomplish, it's going to be hard. And you know what? It's going to come down to me and you. And so in that moment in Dallas, it was coming down to me and him, and I didn't feel like he was playing to the level that he needed to for us to win. You know what I mean? And whatever the struggle was, it's my job as a leader to try to help him get out of it. And in that moment, may have not been for that finals. That moment may have been for the next finals and the next finals and the next finals. And that was my job as someone who had already seen it from a championship, from winning a championship in the NBA. I'm not as talented as LeBron. I never have been. So I wasn't talking about the talent. I can't do what he do, but I have won. and I have one on the road before, and I have done all these things, so I know what it takes. And so for me at that moment, I was just trying to give him what I knew he needed. And I had to light a fire under him in a certain way, and he took it respectfully. And we didn't win that finals, but we won the next one, and we won the next one, and we was in the next one. And we watched a player go from, he's very, very good, he's one of the greats, to now he's at that GOAT conversation because he learned how to win. And so I'm not saying I taught him how to win, but I did give him certain details that he needed to help him get over that hump, just to be able to win in the NBA a championship. Now, he did the rest physically and all those things. That had nothing to do with that. But I do have a role to play as well. And that was my role at that time, was to, at that moment, I was like, I got to get on him, because he's not understanding this moment right now. I understand if we let this next 2 possessions go, it's over for us.
Yeah.
Like, it's so important. And when you're playing in the finals, possession by possession. And even though he'd been in the finals before, he never won one at that time. So he didn't understand the importance of that. And it was my job to try to bring him back so he understand the importance of what we needed from him, and what, to try to win that game and try to win that series. So
and accept his destiny. I got one final thing, and he'll never say it, but if you feel this way, can you make one final push or a stamp as to why my guy Andre Iguodala should be in the Hall of Fame?
Well, I gotta. So let me first of all, I was going to end talking about Ig anyway, because to go through 19 years, Ig.
Yes, sir.
19 years in the NBA. First of all, man, like, that's incredible. The longevity of that, and not healthy all those years. So to fight back through injuries and all the things you had to do to be able to stay there and be an important figure on one of the greatest franchises and some of the greatest teams that we've ever seen in this 76, 77 years into the NBA. 77 years into the NBA. That is a testament to you, to your family, to everything you stand for, and the sacrifices you made along the way. I think people forget the Philadelphia Ig. They forget the one that was flying over everybody. That when him and Iverson was on a break, you go watch out. They forget that Iguodala. They forget the one that was at Arizona. Like, they forget those. And so, first of all, I just want to give you so much respect for coming into this league and finding your role and being one of the greatest ever to do it the way that you did it. You don't have to look like Tracy McGrady career or LeBron career, or your career is players that will love to walk away from this game and say, I played 19 years. I won 4 rings, right?
Yes, sir.
I won 4 rings. I played with some of the best players in the world, but they needed me to do this and this and that. And I stepped up, and they counted on me. Like, your story, it's incredible. And so I feel that when players have careers that you have not experienced before, that is Hall of Fame worthy. Like, Robert Horry is Hall of Fame worthy because we've never experienced what he brought to the game. Mm-hmm. So it's not just statistics when it comes to being a Hall of Famer. Some people, now it's levels. It's some GOATs in the Hall of Fame that don't want to wear the same jacket as other people. I respect that. I respect Deion saying my jacket should be different. I respect it.
I'm one of
different room. But when it comes to what Ig brought to the game and how he did it, how many players you see doing it like that? How many players? Like, I want to look and see who's going to be the next Iguodala, who's going to be the next Udonis Haslem, who's going to be these players that take these roles and master them roles, and also in the midst of mastering the roles, have to keep doing this. Oh, I got to change and do this. Oh, you need me to guard LeBron. Even though that Finals MVP we could talk about, but let's move on. You can guard this, we can guard that. Can't nobody do it like no one is doing it like how Ig did it. And so, man, I just gave you so much respect on how you went by your career. How you got the rings you got that Finals MVP trophy you got all those things because how you approached every day, your mentality of how you approached it. And a lot of guys can't get out of their way here. And so, man, just so much love and respect for what you did, bro. Welcome to this side, but man, you had a hell of a fucking career, bro.
Man, I truly appreciate that coming from you. You're so damn humble that I got to remember who's saying it. So I truly appreciate it. I appreciate it.
We all on the journey of basketball together, man.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And it is all about situations. It's not, I think some people are they're super duper talented and, they have that level. And some people have been put in better situations than other people. What are you going to do about the situation you've been put in? The situations you were put in as an athlete, you got 4 rings out of the Finals MVP. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't just sit on the bench and do those things.
Right.
And so my situation was I eventually got the ball. So I was able to become something that maybe no one's seen. But it's all about your situation and what you're going to do with it. So I just love and respect to what you did with what was presented to you in this league and how you continue to keep evolving. And to be a player that a Steph Curry, who's one of the GOATs to ever play this game, needs. I want him on this team. I need him in his lineup. I need him at the end of the games. You know what I mean? Like if a player like that say, I need him, bro, that shows you how important you are to the game.
True story.
That's real.
True story.
Well, D Wade, man, once again, thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for always being so gracious. You made me look so cool in Paris at the Usher concert. Everybody's like, that's Dwyane and Gabby. I'm like, let me go say hi to Dwyane and Gabby real quick.
We're got that vibe in Paris, you know what I mean?
Yeah, your security guard was trying to beat me up, but other than that, it was smooth. And we're looking forward to what you do next. Shout out to everything you do, the platform you're on, and the opportunities you give people. And I believe Just for Kicks with our guy Worldwide Wayne is dropping pretty soon. We're looking forward to
my cousin Antoine Wade.
Yeah.
I know he's a part of that series, man. And you see, I'm in my room I got some of my kicks in here. And we're athletes, bro, but we're kids that grew up with nothing, and we always wanted kicks. We wanted multiple pairs of kicks.
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
we all it's a story to all these. Every one I wore, it's a story to each one of these joints.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember, I had these on that night. And so shout out to my cousin Antoine. Shout out to Just for Kicks and everything that they're doing. But shout out to everybody in the sneaker world, bro, because that's us. Like, we are part of it. And Ev, shout out to you for being one of the first to sign with Li Ning, man. I respect you for it, and hopefully I've represented the right way, since you've left the brand.
Oh no, you did your thing. Don't worry about that. You did your motherfucking thing. All right.
But appreciate you, fam.
Love, D Wade.
Much love.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.